As we get closer to the first 10 games in the NBA season, we're going to crack down a couple teams that I felt like could be some outliers between this season or those who can really make a strong push for the playoffs. And this episode is all about the Brooklyn Nets. If you're new to this channel, this is your boy P.kidd. With this is P.kidd Talks NBA. Obviously, we talk NBA. And so let's get into it, man. I am actually a fan of the Brooklyn Nets. I think the Brooklyn Nets have a nice consortium of talent, and I actually believe that they are destined to be a playoff team, and not just a play-in team. I think they have enough talent there on their particular roster to really make noise, to really get something going. And so far, despite the fact that they're 3-4, it hasn't disappointed. And what I mean by that is they're getting buy-in from a lot of different people. Specifically, and I have to start out with the elephant in the room, Ben Simmons. Now, Ben Simmons hasn't been lighting it up from the scoring perspective, but he has shown that he's out there and he's trying to be productive. He's hooping in the best way that he can right now, and hopefully that develops and you get to see more of his game, like the game of old later. More of the assists, more of the on the scoring front. I do believe he is someone who can be a double-double asset. And when I double-double, I do mean maybe not necessarily points, but he could be double-digit assists, double-digit rebounds. That's for sure, because he's already double-digit rebounds. In fact, he's averaging 10 rebounds a game while offering so slightly around 6 points and 6 assists. So although it may be a triple single, as Charles Barkley may like to flirt around with, he's giving you something that's very Draymond-ish, but maybe not the floor general type play or leadership type play. But it's something of promise there. Again, this is someone who has been dealing with mental health issues, back injuries, stuff like that, and trying to work himself back into the flow of things. And I kind of like and appreciate where he's going. Now, there are some times that Ben Simmons does look like someone who, sometimes look like the handle ain't there. So he does look like somebody who probably hasn't practiced or hasn't knocked off a lot of rust or just hasn't refined their game the way that you would like. But considering where he was, what he's gone through, and who am I to sit there and judge the man? Who am I to sit there and say that he lied about it? I know some commentators would. I don't really respect those. I can't sit there and denigrate or make up anything. I don't know. Everything he's gone through could have actually been pivotal. If the back was hurting as much, great. We move on from that. But as it goes through the season, Ben Simmons is absolutely one of those things where I would look out for. Because, again, if he progresses to be somebody who can be a double-digit assist, double-digit rebound, and let's just say a double-digit points per game, 12, 15 points a game, you're looking at someone who can make a huge impact on the team that has some interesting shooters. And when you look at the shooters that they have, the Brooklyn Nets are not without people who can score the rock. Let's just go ahead and get address the other elephant in the room, Cam Thomas. Now, here's the thing. Cam Thomas is someone who hit the radar last season. You saw some flash. You was like, who was this dude? Man, they got to play him some more. Then he got more playing time. Probably, didn't end the way that some people would have liked. Things of that nature. Well, he kind of picks up on that same realm. Comes in, first couple games, pretty cool. Then gives us some duds. Then goes off 27, 40-something. Like, he's putting together a nice collective and string of games, averaging about 28 points a game. And he's really clicking on the offensive end. Now, there are some things that I would say you would want him to do a little bit better defensively. I do think he is a relatively good defensive player. He's already registered again. We had over 3 steals and things of that nature. So he has just as many steals as he has game played this particular season. If I'm looking on ESPN statistics right now. So if that's wrong, forgive me. I'm looking at it on the screen. But that ultimately, he is someone who comes in at value. He's going to make like $2 million, believe it or not. But he's providing so much value for the Nets. He's just one of the players at age 25, so still young guy who's 22, not 25. So at 22, he's still coming in, young dude, making some noise. Love to see it. But that's just one of the shooters. You go to Lonnie Walker, who I've always thought was a dog. Lonnie Walker comes in at 24. He's, again, value player. Not much on the cap space. So I say that to say they got room to grow within this organization. The organization has room to make other moves if they need to actually shape this roster up to be a dominant team. Should they be able to make some moves? Not saying that they will, but they do. And you see that here. Then we move into some of the other players. Cam Johnson. Now, Cam Johnson is one of those players that maybe some people wanted a little bit more as we've gone into this season. He's averaging about 12 points a game, 3 assists, things of that nature, but he's only had one game played. So for his first game, you would want to see more. So when I say you want to see more, you just want to see him on the court. You want to see him on the court. You want to see him have an impact. He's giving great interviews in the offseason where you got to see his mindset and how he approaches the game, which I've actually really enjoyed. He had a great interview on JJ Redick's podcast. But again, you just want to see him healthy and on the court so that you can see all of these things come through. So I look at that and I'm waiting for his opportunity for that moment when he comes in, because I do think Cam Johnson is poised to have a breakout season for the Brooklyn Nets. I really do think that this is going to be his year to actually do so. But then we have the one person who I've been very big on. It's two people actually very big on. I think that they were finally in a situation where they get to showcase more of their skill, and it's still early in the season. A lot can change. I know there's been some health concerns and things of that nature, so there hasn't been much opportunity on the floor. But Spencer Dinwiddie, Mikal Bridges, we'll start with Spencer Dinwiddie. Spencer Dinwiddie right now averaging 10 points, 5 assists, but he's shooting 43% from the three-point line. That's a key point. We're going to come back to that in a second. But the simple fact that he was able to actually come back and in the 6th game he's played, provide those particular splits, only 27 minutes. And you would want to see more. You would want to see more but I understand, again, coming to the season, injury, things of that nature. But again, early on and in the limited minutes he does give you, he gives you a great value. And I like to see that from that. The value that he gives you for what he does and the times he's there shows you that they have, again, the opportunity for him to grow into that particular role. Be one of the studs that you think he can be at the point guard position and really, really make some noise. And Mikal Bridges at 6'6", Mikal Bridges, Iron Man, you can't say anything about him. He's played. Tell me what game he hasn't played, right? But he's averaging at this point 21 points, shooting nearly 50% from field at 48.3, and coming in with 5 rebounds and 4 assists. He has actually been giving me a lot of what I expected. Last game against Milwaukee put up 31 points on 57% shooting. I can't ask more from that. Again, I've never looked at Mikal Bridges as someone who's going to be a superstar, but I thought of someone who can be all-star caliber or definitively not just your journeyman role player that people like to relegate and, brush off. I think he could be a pivotal person on this team to really help lead that charge. The Brooklyn Nets are poised where they don't need a superstar, so to speak, to contend. And I really don't think you need a superstar to actually win a championship. I know there's only been so many different teams in history to have actually done it, but I do believe that it's possible. I do think that we're getting past the era of depending on these super teams or superstar-based systems, whereas team ball in itself is coming back because there's just too much talent in the league. This team here, even though some people will write them off, and I didn't even get to Royce O'Neal, who I think is still a good player. I didn't get to Nick Claxton, who I think has evolved. They have good young talent on the team. So if you're a Brooklyn Nets fan, listen, there's a lot to be hopeful for. These boys compete, they run, they hustle, and they have everything they need to really make noise in the Eastern Conference. Because again, to me, the Eastern Conference is wide open. There's some teams that are very top heavy who I think will always be your outliers, i.e. your Milwaukee Bucks, your Philadelphia 76ers. I think the Knicks are kind of fighting in that realm now. But everyone else, I think is fair game in the Eastern Conference. If there's a juggernaut I'm missing, just blame it on the fact that I'm not thinking of it, but I don't believe Atlanta is that team anymore. I don't think Miami is that team anymore that you could say definitive top 5 teams in the East. So there's opportunity for this team. There's opportunity and space for them to actually make their stamp and make their name known in this Eastern Conference. And I think they have all the right pieces to do so. But I want to hear your thoughts, man. If you're a Brooklyn Nets fan, how do you feel about these first 7-8 games? I said that the in-season tournament still kind of threw me off. I got another video about that. I am a fan of the thought and the concept. I'm still confused as to execution. Some of the players are still confused. So forgive me if if I'm a little off on that one because I'm whatever. But if you're a Brooklyn Nets fan, let me know how you feel about it. How you feel about your team. How you feel about the season that you all have, your opportunity to actually be a playoff team, and where you all can go. Now, if you are someone who thinks that you're going to win a championship, put that in a comment. Even if you don't, if you think you're just going to be someone who can absolutely compete and contend until you get someone who may not necessarily be a superstar, but definitive all-star caliber person, I do believe that's one thing that absolutely you do need at least a definitive all-star, not French. You do need a definitive all-star to make that leap and put your team over the top to at least compete with some of these other teams. Who do you think that person is? All that speculation, I want in the chat. I'll be in there with you. Till next time. Peace.